Welcome to PodGalaxy.
Welcome back, everybody. This week, PodGalaxy presents Riddles and Intrigue.
I'm intrigued.
Are you?
I am very.
Well, I guess we can start it off with a riddle then.
Oh, okay.
I've got a riddle for you.
Sure.
If you have me, you want to share me. If you share me, you haven't got me. What am I?
Oh. How about we get into the topic? I'll think about it, and then maybe at the end of the podcasts.
Okay. Absolutely.
Would you like to repeat that one more time for our viewers?
All right. Yeah, just weigh in the comments if you have the answer. Just put a spoiler alert on there so people don't read it. So the riddle is, if you have me, you want to share me. If you share me, you haven't got me. What am I?
If you share me, you haven't got me.
Dun 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 dun.
That's a good one.
Yeah, put some thought into that.
Yeah. All right.
Recently, in the past few days, I was online just looking around and stuff like that, and I stumbled across this website. It was called CIAagentedu.org.
Oh.
And on this website, they discussed 5 CIA conspiracy theories that turned out to be true.
Just 5?
Just 5 of them.
Ah.
Just 5. So I figure we can go through that list and talk about each one a little bit in depth, give our own theories, and just talk about what we know about them.
I like it.
Just from our own research or knowledge, because I know you and I probably spent a lot of time in our 20s stoned staring at YouTube videos of conspiracies.
Hours and hours. We're not conspiracy buffs here.
Yeah. Are we going to bring up Nibiru on this episode?
That's a good one.
Mm-hmm.
That's a real good one.
We could do a whole series on that.
Facts.
Yeah. So I guess we can jump right into it.
Yeah. What's the first one on the website?
So the first one I had from there was the CIA Tibetan program, which basically talked about how the CIA funded Tibet's 14th Dalai Lama in the 1960s in order to basically create dissent amongst the communist Chinese regime run by Mao. So basically they were funding him so that he could spread that money and spread information around to kind of destabilize communism.
Doesn't that go against kind of their religion? Bribery? Dalai Lama?
I mean, is the Dalai Lama a monk?
Yeah. Yeah.
He shouldn't be taking anything. But what if he didn't keep the money and he just spread it around? I guess that would be a different thing.
That would be one way to look at it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Do you know how they choose the Dalai Lama?
No.
Yeah, I don't either.
Oh, damn it. I thought you were going to have a cool nugget for me right there. Now I need to look it up.
The 14th, that was in the 60s.
Yes.
So I wonder how many they're on now.
Probably a bunch.
Well, they live old.
So apparently
It's like the chosen one.
this is on Wikipedia. It says, following the Buddhist belief in the principle of reincarnation, the Dalai Lama is believed by Buddhists to be able to choose the body into which he is reincarnated. That person, when found, will become the next Dalai Lama.
What if they're never found, though? That's what I'm saying.
So, well, the thing is that the current Dalai Lama chooses the next.
Oh, okay.
Because it's all the same person.
Gotcha.
And honestly, let's see, the succession of the 14th Dalai Lama, he was probably still Dalai Lama up until a little while ago.
Probably.
The present 14th Dalai Lama has suggested different possibilities to identify the next 15th Dalai Lama. He's still Dalai Lama.
Jesus. Yeah, I told you, they live forever, dude.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
At least like 100 years.
Yeah. So, from what I've seen in my research about this Tibetan program, it was an anti-Chinese covert operation focused on Tibet, which was, being taken over by China in right after World War II.
Right.
When Mao rose into power and was creating communist China. So around that time, the U.S. was trying to get involved, and like I said, they were trying to disrupt the formation of communism in China.
Now, they gave $1.7 million back then, too.
Yeah.
So they must have been really serious about it.
Yeah, I mean...
That's no chump change back then.
They were giving $180,000 a year to the Dalai Lama?
I wonder if he'll ever share what he did with that money. Did he even recognize? Does he admit it?
Probably.
He's like,
I don't
yeah,
know.
they funded me in the 60s.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's his.
That's his accent. He's an Italian Dalai Lama, a mobster.
Hey,
They gave me an offer I couldn't refuse.
fucking
Yeah, but I guess it wasn't just the Tibetan program wasn't just them funding the Dalai Lama as well. I guess they were, giving money to a lot of people, supporting resistance groups, paramilitary. They were creating paramilitary in Nepal.
Yep. The goal of the program was to keep the political concept of autonomous Tibet.
Yeah, autonomous Tibet. So they wanted to keep Tibet as its own country or area as opposed to being part of China.
And among several foreign nations.
Which we're seeing a lot of that bullshit now.
Yep.
Look what they're doing to all the little countries around them. Look at Hong Kong and the protests, and then what's the other one?
You got so many, dude.
There's one that's in the news right now that's a big situation.
Really? Well, I know Hong Kong and like John Cena, basically with China.
Yeah, Taiwan.
Getting in trouble with that, then even saying an apology in Mandarin.
Yeah.
And that they're like, oh, he just wants his money.
Yeah, exactly.
Basically, sorry, give me money. I know I got.
Yeah, he's a Chinese bootlicker now.
Yeah,
right?
for real.
No respect for him anymore. I liked John Cena for a while too.
I remember he came back for one match, right? And he talked about this fucking super finisher that he had. And he just did a movie with Jackie Chan. And usually he does the AA or the FU.
Yep.
That was a big one. So he winds up in the match. He was facing Rusev. Winds up, dude, and literally runs at him and jabs him. And that was the move. They were like, oh my God, the most deadly strike. And fucking internet fans were like, what did we just see?
Yeah, what the hell is that?
Dude, it was like a 3-month build-up to this move. And it was a fucking backhand jab.
That's funny. That's funny. But yeah, I mean, I guess we're still dealing with communist China because they're basically saying that Tibet isn't a country, isn't its own country. They're part of China, and Tibet doesn't feel that way.
Some more rocky roads.
Yeah, more rocky roads.
And the current president's probably behind China on this one.
Oh yeah, he backs China 100%.
If I had to guess.
Yeah, I mean,
not to speculate or anything.
Yeah.
Well, that was an interesting one.
Yeah, that one's pretty good. It's pretty interesting.
And there's only been 14 Dalai Lamas.
Yeah, 14 Dalai Lamas. You think if they're chosen young, right? So say they're chosen in their teens even. And who knows if they choose them young or if they just choose a guy. This guy's in his 40s. He must be me. They probably choose a baby.
I would think so.
Yeah. If they choose them young and say they live 100 years, that's 1,400 years of Dalai Lama.
The Dalai Lama lineage started from humble beginnings, 1391 to 1474. The boy who became the first in line was born in a cattle pen.
No shit.
Wow. No shit.
That's crazy.
Yep.
All right. Well, they've been going for a long time.
For real. The highest spiritual leader of Tibet.
Yeah, of Buddhism in general. Yeah.
Oh, he was a political leader too. Retired. Oh shit.
Mm-hmm.
That's interesting facts. He retired as a political head in 2011 to make way for a democratic government.
Yep, in Tibet. Huh.
Yep.
Interesting. Cool.
Ocean Guru. No shit. That's what Dalai Lama means.
Oh, ocean guru, huh?
Yeah. So Dalai means ocean.
Be like water.
Be water, my friend. Yep.
That's pretty interesting.
No shit. So, that was a good first one.
Yeah.
What you got for number? Yeah.
So the next one is that the CIA used weather modification as a weapon.
No, they didn't.
No.
Get out of here.
How could they even do that?
No way.
They got Storm from X-Men fucking in the lineup.
Fucking Thor, when he swung his hammer, fucking just caused holder up.
Yeah, right? But, I mean, I know for a fact that this one's true.
Do you now?
Yeah, I mean, just from my research, I guess. But it has been, information has been released about their operations in Vietnam. But I also know that farmers themselves will attempt cloud seeding over their crops.
Now, what exactly for the fans
So-
and viewers?
Cloud seeding is the process of which you create rain by flying a plane and releasing particles into a cloud that allow water to condense on those particles and inevitably fall as rain. So you're making a cloud turn itself into rain. 'Cause there's tons of water in clouds. Clouds technically shouldn't even be able to float. They're
Right.
so heavy.
Yeah.
But there's all that water in there, and so you just release particles, let stuff cling to it, and then that comes down as rain.
Oh, now that's going to bring the conspiracy about planes releasing.
Chemtrails.
Oh my god. Those
Chem-
are still fishy though. I get the science behind it,
Yeah.
but I mean, some of them you look at, you're like, that shit's been there for like fucking an hour.
Yeah, seriously.
And other ones you got fucking hundreds.
Yeah, chemtrails is a weird one. I watched a really interesting documentary on it back when I was like 21. I'll have to see if I can find it one day so we can look at it.
Yeah, that'd be interesting.
But yeah, so farmers have tried to do it for their crops when there's drought and stuff like that, just in order to water their crops.
Yeah.
But in Vietnam, they did it over the Ho Chi Minh Trail to try to flood out the supply line of the North Vietnamese.
That's pretty fucking smart if you think about it though.
Yeah.
Strategically.
Yeah, because I mean, the Ho Chi Minh Trail wasn't a paved road; it was dirt.
Yeah.
So you flood that out
Flood
with
it,
water,
mudded
make
it
it
out.
muddy. Yep, you can't drag your wagons through there or drive vehicles through it easily.
Yep.
So it's smart.
Yeah.
You know.
To get growing crops too there.
Yeah.
If you could.
Yeah. Do you know any other conspiracies that have to do with weather?
I do. There's a program called HARP. Have you ever heard of it?
Yes, I've heard of HARP.
Have you?
Yes,
It's based in Alaska.
based in Alaska. It's a weather array.
It's a high frequency active auroral research program. This was a big thing a couple years ago, I remember, because it's just satellites and satellites. One of the things, too, they were worried about, at first they kind of kept it hidden, but basically it's a whole bunch of satellites and antennas. And they're saying if, they kind of triggered the wrong one, or basically scientists were saying it could be a huge lightning bolt. So something from above comes down and basically the ultimate lightning bulb for Earth.
Oh,
So
shit.
it's kind of crazy when you think about it, because if it's that powerful and it's shooting up, they're worried about if something comes down and fucking
Yeah. Well, I mean, you think about the auroras and what they are.
Mhm.
It's basically ionized particles interacting with our ionosphere
yep.
and causing those
Look at
lights.
you sounding all fancy.
I took a semester of meteorology in high school.
That's why you're always lying.
Why you lying? Bitch, you always lying.
So yeah, this says off of Bing that HARP was initiated, exactly what you're saying, ionospheric research program jointly funded by the U.S. Air Force, the U.S. Navy, University of Alaska Fairbanks, and the Defense Advanced Research Projects. Originally built by, of course, BAE,
Yeah,
of course.
I know. There's like fucking 20 of those just around us.
Yeah,
We're surrounded by BAEs
real.
up here.
it's actually kind of new. Construction began in '93.
Yeah, it is relatively new, within 30 years.
And I wonder why they chose Alaska for that.
Probably if they're studying the auroras,
Yeah,
that's probably
good
one of the
point.
places probably one of the few places you can see them in the United States.
Yeah.
I believe in Maine, sometimes during the year you can see them a little bit.
Once in a while, too, you can see them pretty much different spots. I'll have like alerts going to, oh, this weekend you can see it.
Yeah,
you
and
know?
then it's cloudy.
Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah, but I mean, the belief was that they were using those to mess with the weather, right?
Well, I mean, climate control, too. Sometimes, like, it was fucking 70 on Christmas, and then
Yeah.
the amount of snow, and then how California had snow and New
Texas.
England. Yeah, that whole thing.
Yeah.
That was bad. Now it's like, was that generated somehow? Was that a mishap?
Yeah. Could be.
I could very well see the top people being like, yo, let's just fucking snow these folks out.
Yeah, let's see what we can do.
Let's try. Oh, because I mean, another one that happened too, Hurricane Katrina.
Yeah.
That was also a thought that was actually a experiment gone wrong,
Yeah.
or it was an experiment gone successful.
Yeah.
Depending on how you looked at it.
I've always thought it was pretty weird how a lot of the hurricanes that hit us form off like the west coast of Africa,
Yeah.
you know, and then
Yeah.
just come at us like they're firing hurricane bullets at us.
Yeah. And
What
it's
the fuck
always
did we ever
the
do
same.
to Africa?
Yeah.
God, American stuff.
Yeah, and you mentioned Operation Popeye.
Operation
Before?
Popeye.
Yeah, Vietnam.
So Operation Popeye was the operation in Vietnam to cloud seed and flood out the Ho Chi Minh Trail. They wanted to expand the monsoon season.
Now, did they have success doing it in your research?
They had moderate success.
Did
yeah.
they?
They were able to create or to prolong the monsoon season a little bit to create mud and
No
you know.
shit. And that was in the 60s
But-
too, so.
Yeah, but that's on the Ho Chi Minh Trail alone. The guerrillas were able to move very effectively in really shitty fucking terrain. You know, you're talking about basically the rainforest that they're traversing through.
Yeah.
So even though they might have muddied up the Ho Chi Minh Trail, they can still move stuff around.
Yeah.
You know, so
Still would have been a shitty fucking
Oh, yeah.
time.
oh, absolutely for everybody involved.
Yeah.
You know.
Legit.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yep. So that's Operation Popeye.
Comment too. Add your 2 cents.
Yeah. If you guys have any ideas
Yeah.
or knowledge on this stuff,
Yeah,
drop
because
that.
I'm sure a lot of you know a lot more than him and I combined on these.
Yeah, we're by no means experts on this
No.
stuff.
Not at all.
Yeah, I guess they were trying to cause landslides as well, just to block off roads.
That would make sense.
Yeah,
That's some art of war shit.
yeah, no, absolutely.
You
Some
know?
Sun Tzu shit.
Yep. So what was
Uh,
your number 3?
Number 3?
This one's interesting. I like this one. This is probably the most popular one, I would think, out of all 5 of these.
Yeah, I believe. One that's really widely known as well.
Yeah.
Comes down to mind control and MK Ultra.
That just opened up a firestorm right there. People are like, these motherfuckers are going to talk about that?
Yeah, I know. It's like we could honestly run a huge long episode on this. I think we're just going to try to stick to the smaller points.
Yeah, quick
You know?
notes.
Otherwise, we're going to be here for days.
Yeah.
So what do you know about MK Ultra?
Mind control from the government. What was that movie? Now that I'm thinking about it.
American Ultra?
No, the Goats movie.
Oh, Men Who Stare at Ghosts.
Yeah.
That was a good one.
Yeah, that was a really good one. That's
Yeah.
what I thought the guy's looking at, and the goat drops dead. I mean, there's a bunch of theories from what I've heard. Mostly it's kind of like homeless people. They kind of took in off the streets
Mhm.
and basically just filled them up with LSD and all kinds of other crazy shit. Basically just seeing what happens to the body, the pain tolerance, and then you can get even more in depth to, they claim, they could control someone with words or sounds, and then all of a sudden, they wake up and all of a sudden they don't remember it and completely just say they were taken over.
Yeah, like sleeper agents.
Yeah.
Stuff like that.
Yeah, exactly.
Is it talking about like KGB using sleeper agents and activation words? And
Mm-hmm.
I'm sure we've all seen it in movies or video games.
Yep.
So from what I've looked into, after the Korean War, they believed that prisoners of war from the Korean War were being mind controlled by, the Russians, the Chinese, communists,
Mm-hmm.
in order to send them back here as like sleeper agents. At least that's what the American government believed.
Yeah.
So knowing that, or believing that,
Right.
they decided to conduct their own experiments and see if they could create some kind of mind control or truth serum or something like that.
It's kind of like the space. Oh, well, you can go to space. I can do that. You can control this motherfucker. I can
Exactly.
control this motherfucker.
Well, that's what the Cold War was all about.
Yep.
So, well, what
Who
can I
had the
do? What
bigger
can you do?
dick?
Yeah, right. Swing it around.
Legit.
Yeah, but from 1953 to 1973 is about where MK Ultra was being run, which is that's 20 years of
Yeah.
experimentation.
And I'm sure they actually probably did generations. So like your mom, dad, and then they
Yeah.
have you right there. Oh, we got a kid now.
Yeah.
So that's when I think that would, the super soldier,
Mm-hmm.
when you get them from, oh, this one worked on the mother. This one didn't work on the father. Maybe we'll give half the doses to the kid.
Yeah. Or let's see what happens when they have a kid. Let's put these two together
Yeah.
and see if this kid comes out with, telekinesis.
I kind of think that is kind of the beginning of cloning in a sense, because they start injecting and seeing results. They're like, what if we put DNA in here? And that's where I think the original comes from.
Yeah, could be. in everything that I read, knowing that they committed like all kinds of atrocities, because to take somebody and drug them against their will and do all these tests, like I know you and I have both seen videos where they do like electroshock therapy on people when they're on insane doses of LSD.
Yep.
The one thing that I've read over and over again is that it was controversial and shut down, and it gained like traction to shut it down because there was ethical questions around experimenting with drugs on human subjects. That was it.
Yeah, they kind of tone it down a little bit.
Well, we can't be giving people drugs. That's not. You can shock the shit out of them. That's fine. I don't care about torture them. That's fine. No drugs. We can't give them LSD.
No, not at all.
It's insane.
Not even a joint. I think that's where kind of that too in the hippies, because the next generation then it was a little more experimental. You know.
Oh yeah, I mean they were. I mean
suppression does a lot to a lot of people.
Yeah,
you got a whole group that's suppressed, and then finally you're not supposed to do something. Well, they're fucking doing it. Well, let's be hippies now.
Yeah, now everybody's smoking weed, doing LSD. You think about like Woodstock.
Yeah.
Who's to say they weren't releasing stuff there? Because wasn't there like a batch of brown acid? Don't eat the brown acid. You know, maybe.
And all those people showed up.
Yeah. Like, maybe the CIA was like, hey, put our acid out there and see what it does to these people.
Yeah.
You know, you never know.
And it fucking backfired because everybody was just fucking enjoying the music and vibing and just leaving trash and shit
behind. Dancing in the mud.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, but I mean, MK Ultra it's a crazy one because there's so much that they did. And at the end of it, who's to say they didn't develop a truth serum? Because I've done a good amount.
So.
I mean, I know someone who's done a good amount of LSD.
Friend of a friend.
Yeah, friend of a friend. Yeah. You know, and after that experience, you kind of come out of it with a different mindset.
Well, like MDMA.
Well, MDMA is different. You come out of that and you're just fucking drained. All the happiness is out of you forever because you used it all up the night before.
Well, they say it's kind of like a reset button, like a computer.
So
from what I've heard.
So
Joe Rogan talks a lot about it. Bill Burr did mushrooms, and that's how he stopped drinking.
Yeah, so I think mushrooms and LSD are more of like the reset. They're the ego killers. So after you do them, you have a different perspective on life. And I can tell you, after any time that I've, tried a psychedelic, the next day I have a different outlook on life.
Oh, yeah.
Last time I did acid, like I was basically done smoking weed the next day. The next day I just had no interest.
Right.
And I changed a few other things. Within like a month of the last time I did LSD, I owned a business.
So think about that, right? And that was what? Small dosages?
That was a pretty decent dose on that last one.
Okay, but they didn't have you chained and fucking, scared for your life and just pumping and pumping and pumping and pumping.
Exactly. I took 2 tabs. I didn't think they were going to be that serious, and these ones were serious. And I was outside by myself all night. My wife found me in the morning. She wasn't very impressed.
I wouldn't think so.
Yeah, but either way.
2 of those would do that.
Yeah.
Like, the amount that these people, for the amount of time, like, of course that's going to fuck with your head. Of course. And then I would assume your body, obviously your mind changes your body just by injecting that. I mean, look at like meth heads. You see when they're clean as opposed to 2 years later on their mugshot.
Yeah. It's true. It does change your body. And who knows how that affects a lot of people, but I honestly think that certain psychedelics aren't bad for you.
And you definitely, truth serum, I believe 100%.
Yes.
It's fucking called alcohol sometimes.
Yeah, drinking up booze and you'll be telling the world everything,
legit.
But have you heard about like psilocybin research into mushrooms? Like they're saying it repairs brain neurons.
Yeah. That and Brussels sprouts actually is supposed to help.
Really?
Yeah, absolutely.
I love Brussels sprouts.
Yeah, it's supposed to basically rejuvenate some nerve endings.
Yeah.
So that's a little suggestion for those.
Nice.
Yeah.
Well, your body goes through a natural process where it shuts down certain neurons in your brain. Like it cleanses you. Like, oh, you don't really need this. As you're becoming an adult and like focusing on what you're doing, it shuts down certain things. Oh, he never uses this part of his brain, so let's shut down those neurons.
That's why a lot of fucking memories, somebody be like, oh my God, I haven't thought about that in 20 years because something triggers it. It's not that you naturally think of it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's true.
That's nerves for you.
Yeah. Oh, fuck yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. I mean, MK Ultra is definitely interesting.
Yeah.
So the next one that I have, and this one I actually didn't even know about until I read this article online.
I didn't either until you mentioned it.
Yeah, I had no idea that this is how it all went down, but it's a fake vaccination program in Pakistan to find Osama bin Laden.
Now, that was the twists.
Yeah.
Because fake vaccination, obviously, we're going through COVID.
Yeah. And obviously there's a lot of controversy around this vaccine.
Yeah, so much.
But this particular vaccine program, it doesn't really link up to vaccinations with COVID and stuff like that. They're not related.
Not one bit.
Yeah.
But it's just interesting enough when you brought it up, because we discussed all 5 a little bit before we recorded. Same thing like you said. I had no idea.
Yeah.
But it's smart. You want to explain a little bit then? Because they were like, Osama bin Laden,
Vaccines,
COVID, vaccines. Like, how is this all tied together?
Everybody's confused now.
Hep C, like what?
Yes. So the CIA organized this. They had tracked down, they assumed that Osama bin Laden was in Pakistan, in Abbottabad or around that area.
Yep.
They tracked couriers and stuff like that they believed to be delivering stuff to Osama bin Laden, but they couldn't prove it. They couldn't prove that he was in any of the buildings. It's not like they could just kick down the door and go look, really, because they were in Pakistan.
Right.
They weren't at war with Pakistan.
Yeah, because that would have started a whole nother war.
Absolutely.
And he knew that. That's why he was there, obviously.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it was a good place to hide.
Yeah.
You know, so they thought that he was there somewhere in the town, so they hired a doctor by the name of Shakil Afridi to go out and start giving out vaccines. So they figured
hepatitis B.
Yeah, hepatitis
vaccines.
B vaccines.
Yeah.
So they had DNA from Osama bin Laden's family because his sister lived here in the United States. So they had her DNA, which, you know, DNA is pretty close if you have the same mother and father.
Yeah.
You can basically
siblings
track
pretty
it.
much.
Yep.
Yep.
So they had that, and they're like, well, how can we make sure? How can we identify whether he's in one of these houses? So they hired Shakil Afridi, and they had him start in like poor neighborhoods, giving out these vaccines for free, and then he slowly moved his way into the neighborhoods where they thought he's in one of these houses, you know.
And this is where the plot twists.
Yes.
Big time.
So as he's going up to these houses now, because people are now familiar with him giving out vaccines and he's doing a good thing, there's nothing really suspicious about it. As he's giving out these vaccines, he is also taking DNA samples from the children in these houses.
Mm-hmm.
And inevitably, he was able to match up the DNA from Osama bin Laden's sister to a child in one of these houses. And from there, we know what happens next.
That is so interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You think about that. And there was a lot of controversy about this as well, because they were using vaccinations as a ploy.
Yeah. So
is that okay?
They're going to justify it because it was the most wanted man in America.
Yeah.
Or in the world. Yeah.
Yeah. So
they would justify it.
They definitely did justify it. And they came out saying, you know, we would never do this again, but we had to get Osama.
Mm-hmm.
So to me, it's like, you'd probably fucking do it again. Like,
yeah.
You did it once.
Yeah, exactly.
It's easier to ask forgiveness than for permission.
And you've probably done it on the low many times.
Yeah, absolutely. You think about DNA. I'm very nervous to give my DNA to anybody.
Right.
I mean, they already have my fingerprints.
Yeah, exactly.
You know?
Facts. 23andMe and Ancestry. It's just a Google data bank.
Yeah, it's a data bank. You know, they have all your DNA.
Yeah. What, are they going to, like, grow you out in a couple 100 years again? Or,
well, maybe not.
You know?
If you ever commit a crime and your DNA is on the scene, they have a fucking database of it.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
You spit at somebody, fucking, they're like, oh, we got you. You're like,
Exactly.
oh, fuck, I just spit at you.
You know, and so to play devil's advocate, I think it's, you know, inherently it could be used for a good thing. You know, we're going to solve crimes, violent criminals, or anything like that happens, rapes and shit like that. It's going to be easier to identify who did it. But who draws the line as to how far they can go with that?
Right.
You know,
Exactly.
Can they just start checking all of us? Oh yeah, Lorenzo was here. We found his DNA on the fucking, you know, on the door of this car. He didn't do nothing, but we just know he's there.
Yeah. Well, I mean, they got cameras everywhere, too, so might as well have your fucking DNA.
I mean, we carry around a camera, a tracker,
Yeah.
you know, GPS. microphone.
Exactly. So over here it's saying in 2013, in response to the pressure from the leaders in the public health and science, the CIA promised to stop using the vaccination program to gather intelligence. However, the legacy of the fake vaccine campaign in Pakistan has understandably not been easy to overcome. Trust in public health officials has been dangerously eroded.
So the question is, they just said fake vaccine? So were they actually giving out hepatitis B vaccines?
That's another thing.
They're giving out a placebo?
Yeah.
You know?
Well, I mean, look at AIDS. A lot of people think the same thing. Come in and get vaccinated. There you go. We inject you with it.
Yeah, now you have AIDS.
Yeah.
Yep.
Because what do you really know when you put a shot in your arm?
You have no idea.
You don't fucking make it yourself. Well, I mean, some people do.
We know a couple people.
Yeah. But when it comes to the higher up in the government and shit like that, it's the same thing. These kids, I'm getting a vaccine, and they're just taking DNA from you, and without you even knowing, without your consent.
It's true.
It's like stealing in a sense. It's like going into somebody's house and taking something without them knowing it.
Mm-hmm.
You know?
Yeah, I don't think that's fair at all.
But they're gonna justify it.
Of course. But I mean, it's definitely a scary thought to think that they could do something like that. You know, let's give out fake vaccines, and who knows what's in it.
Mm-hmm.
'Cause when you get a vaccination, or when you get a fake vaccination in this program that they had, they don't give you a list of ingredients. It's not like your food. You don't know what's in it.
Exactly. And this was 10 years ago, too.
Yeah.
So they came up with a lot more.
Yeah. Yeah. Who knows? I mean, you're talking about very impoverished areas. You know, they're not rich. Not the majority of the people in the area wasn't rich. So it's something that they would really care about.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I would hope so. I would hope people have morals and are able to say, you know, maybe we should be giving the vaccine out. Yeah.
Did you get your vaccine yet? That's the answer to the riddle of the vaccine.
No.
No?
Nope. It's actually a good one. The riddle's really good. So yeah, I know. I hope people would have some morals and actually give out a real vaccine if they're gonna do some shit like that. But who knows?
Yep.
We'll never know. I don't have the document.
We're not a part of that club.
No. Not part of any club, really.
Nope.
No, just PodGalaxy Club.
Dun, 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 dun.
Recording this.
And the fifth and final one.
So the final one was false flag attacks on our own country.
Oh, boy.
Yep. This is, in particular, Operation Northwoods, which was in the 60s. Do you know anything about Operation Northwoods?
I know the gist of it.
Well, what was going on in the 60s?
Well, the whole Cuban Missile Crisis.
Mm-hmm.
And basically, the United States wanted to go to war with Cuba.
Yeah.
Essentially.
Yeah, I think to broaden it out and really put it into context, it was the whole Red Scare.
Yeah.
You know, the fear of communism coming into the United States and taking over and changing our way of life.
Well, it didn't help that they started pointing nukes at us, too.
Yeah.
So that kind of
it didn't
raised
help,
a little bit of
didn't help that
suspicion.
Russia gave them nukes.
Yeah.
Said, here, point those at the U.S.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, and who's to say they were even fucking pointing them at us? Let's be real here. Operation Northwoods, particularly, is a false flag that they were proposing to take over, to hijack airplanes.
That sounds familiar.
To cause explosions
Whoa.
against United States citizens and blame it on Cubans in order to get us into a war with Castro's regime.
And people think 9/11 really happened.
You and your 9/11. Always on the 9/11.
But it goes along with the false flags.
Well, yeah. Well, I mean, not to take away from the tragedies that have happened, but it puts thoughts in your head. It puts doubt as to whether or not, you know, our government is actually capable of doing something like this.
Yeah, because it's the top secret, actually. Unclassified.
Yep.
Was March 13th, 1962.
That's when they originally proposed it to Kennedy.
Yep. Joint Chiefs of Staff. Personal signature right there.
Yep. Yeah.
I will put up a picture of this
Yeah.
when the video comes.
And Kennedy inevitably shut it down. It was like, no, we can't do this, But just the fact that they would propose to do something about like that against our own citizens is fucked up.
Yeah, especially back then.
Yeah.
That takes an evil mind to really do that. Be like, yo, why don't we fly planes into this building, blame it on them, let's rally up the troops and let's go.
Blow places up. Who knows? Maybe mass shootings, hijacking planes. Who knows if they were going to blow the plane up or just crash the plane or kill everybody aboard. That's fucked up.
Yeah.
They're innocent lives. Unless you're just going to fucking fill the plane with assholes.
Yeah.
Just fly it into Boston, pick up a bunch of us assholes, and fucking fly that shit into the ground. Nobody would give a fuck. It was just Lorenzo and Steve. Who gives a shit?
That's it.
But it's that really, it's scary. A scary thought.
Yeah. Absolutely. And to think that maybe it actually did happen 50 years later.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot of speculation around that.
Yeah, because they kept that hidden for a while because they knew they fucked up.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Essentially.
But I believe they declassified that in 98.
Yeah. So they're also talking use of drones.
Yeah.
Yep. Which, if they were talking about that in the 60s and they had drones in the 60s, they said the military's at least 50 years from what normal society
Yeah, they're
knows.
more advanced than what we know. Yeah. But drones back then are probably not the same as we perceive drones as just a fucking drone up there flying around.
Yeah.
It's probably somebody with remote control or a predetermined like algorithm or program inside of that thing to fly out there, fly back.
Yeah. Because, I mean, if you didn't know better, growing up as a kid, like when I used to do remote control cars, that would be considered almost a drone. It just didn't have a camera on it.
Yeah. Well, I mean, if you have a radio tower, you can still send those signals out a lot farther, like a ham radio, RF signal, whatever. You can send them out pretty far.
Yeah.
And control something. I mean, they're able to send fucking information to Mars.
Yeah. And back.
And back in order to make that thing move 10 degrees to the left, move forward 10 feet, snap some new pictures. They're able to do that from that distance, so I can just imagine what they can do on Earth.
Facts.
Even back then.
So they were saying that their willingness to stage terrorist attacks. So they were planning on using drones, also aircrafts. They wanted to stage hijacking attempts on vessels as well, which I didn't know that part. Then they also wanted to create terror campaigns inside the U.S. with legitimate victims.
Mm-hmm.
So they were going to victimize them and then, poor them.
And then they were going to plant phony evidence to implicate Cuba.
Yep. And then destruction of U.S. military vessels. Pearl Harbor?
Yeah. Yeah. Well, you think about that.
It sounds like it.
That got us into World War II. What's to say they're like, well, we did this in Pearl Harbor.
Yep.
Why don't we do this again? And now we can go to war with them.
Yep.
Like I said, not to take away from the tragedy that happened there, but it's something to think about.
And if you think about those planes, too, if they supposedly came all the way from Japan, wouldn't they have ran out of fuel by the time they got there?
They weren't coming from Japan mainland. They had aircraft carriers just like we did.
Yeah.
You fucking sail an aircraft carrier out. It's a one-way trip. So you just got to get close enough that they can waste all their fuel.
So also they were planning on staging fires and mortar attacks on U.S. military bases. Does this sound kind of familiar to you guys? History repeating itself, maybe?
It's fucked up. Yeah.
This is in the 60s, a classified document.
Mm-hmm.
That's crazy. So they wanted to cause actual damage to installations and potentially personnel. Blow up ammunition inside the base, start fires, burn aircrafts on the airbase, lob mortar shells from the outside of the base inside the base. Using friendly, wow, that's crazy. And starting riots behind the main gates.
The plan was drafted by the Joint Chiefs of Staff, signed by Chairman Lyman Lemnitzer, and sent to the Secretary of Defense.
Yep.
Like, that's a lot of people to say, yeah, we can do this.
Yeah.
Even two people saying, yeah, this is fine. That's a lot of people to say, yeah, let's fuck up our own people just to get us into a war.
And word got into it that JFK is the one that refused it, and that's why they popped him.
Yeah, inevitably, JFK ended up dying.
Another conspiracy theory, not to add on this one, but when you start looking at this guy, who's a decent guy, was like, yo, what are you doing to this country? Like, no, put a stop to it. And he got a bullet to his head.
Jesus.
It's crazy. Yeah, it definitely seems like history repeats itself.
Well, so this is what, March 13th, 1962?
Yep.
And November 22nd of 63
Yep.
is when Kennedy was killed.
So you figure once they did this, they tried pressure for at least maybe a year. And then, let's say a year goes by, Kennedy finally, no, we're not doing this, changes his staff. He ended up switching people left and right.
Mm-hmm.
And he pissed off the wrong people.
Yeah. Yep.
That's a whole nother conspiracy theory with JFK.
This is all just stipulation.
Yeah.
But
I mean, it kind of makes sense.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, definitely. When we get into assassinations and stuff like that in one of our future episodes, we can definitely go a lot more in depth with that.
Yes, because on the next Riddle and Intrigue, we'll be talking about political assassins.
Yep. Political assassinations.
Yep. People are probably wondering what it sounds like.
It's exactly what it sounds like.
It's literally what it sounds like. But we'll go further in depth on that one.
Yep, absolutely.
Yep.
So basically, that's all I had for riddles and intrigue. We can definitely branch out and talk about any other little conspiracies that might pertain to any of these if we'd like. Also, I'd like anybody listening, any of our subscribers, make sure you hit that like button, subscribe, hit the bell, so you can be notified when we post a new one. But go in those comments and tell us any other conspiracies you might like to hear.
Yeah, or even ones that you think we might not know, or if we even said something that you think was wrong, or
correct us if you can.
Absolutely.
Like we said, we are in no way experts. We just read stuff and we're reporting what we've read.
And that's a little too far-fetched for those conspiracies. A little bit, so it kind of makes you think.
Yeah.
Any other conspiracies to the top of your head besides the obvious ones?
I don't know. I think we've covered a lot, actually, in a short amount of time.
Yes, we did.
Without even going into crazy depth. We kind of just reported facts.
Yeah. So we obviously, COVID.
Yeah.
Conspiracy that it was in a lab.
Yeah, developed in a lab. And
bat.
But also conspiracy that COVID is used to, just as a test run to see how quickly the government's able to subjugate us.
And also, it was another theory that it was just a distraction to get Trump out of office.
Yeah, distraction to get Trump out of office.
That's another conspiracy.
Yeah, yep, absolutely. And also you look at all the things that have been going on behind the scenes.
Mm-hmm.
Distraction from
the aliens.
Aliens. I mean, they're going to be releasing information on that. But, the pedophile ring. What was it? Pizzagate? Pizzagate?
Einstein.
Yeah.
Einstein. No, yeah. Jeffrey Einstein.
Jeffrey Epstein.
Epstein. It's the second time, dude.
I know, you did that before.
Same.
Einstein. No, Einstein didn't do that.
No.
But yeah, I mean, stuff like that. Like, you don't even hear about Ghislaine Maxwell anymore. You have to really look her up to see anything that's going on with her. You haven't heard any news.
Yep.
You have a woman that was involved, allegedly, not even allegedly, with sex trafficking.
Yep.
And a sex trafficking island, and a guy who was thrown in jail for it and has been proven to have been doing these things for years.
With a lot of other famous people.
With a lot of famous people.
Hence, the new thing going out, too, is why Bill Gates got divorced, because his wife knew about it.
Yeah, about him hanging out with Epstein. They're saying he allegedly had an affair with a Microsoft employee or something like that.
Yeah.
But,
she couldn't bite her tongue any longer.
Exactly. She probably found out.
Yeah.
And how's he going to explain that?
Mm-hmm.
And all the rich people know what's going on.
Yep. Clinton's been there. It's been documented like 25 times.
Yeah. Just so everybody knows, there's no way possible that in the near future we will be killing ourselves.
Exactly.
We are we like our lives very much. So.
Yes. So one of us goes missing or both of us, it's because we're probably going a little too in depth on a microphone.
Yeah. Try not to get Clinton.
Yeah. Try not to get Clinton. Or JFK'd.
Yeah. I don't want to get suicided.
No, he hung himself.
But I mean, there's a lot of stuff. There's a lot of conspiracies out there, a lot of theories. I don't buy into every single one of them, but I do believe a lot of them.
Yeah.
There's always a little bit of truth behind stuff.
Well, the thing about the conspiracies is that, so the people that know the truth will just start throwing ridiculous conspiracies, and it all snowballs. So then the average person will hear these ridiculous ones and be like, dude, no, you're fucking crazy. I remember some of the shit I used to think 10, 15 years ago, my old man would look at me like, dude, you're fucking crazy. And now once in a while I'll catch myself hearing something. I'm like, that sounds like me.
Oh yeah. Oh, I'm crazy.
Like, that
Yeah.
sounds exactly like something I would have said in my crazy days.
Yeah. Yep.
And, you know, as it gets older, and some of them are not that fucking crazy.
Yeah, information comes out. I mean, when you see these declassified documents talking about stuff that they were doing or proposing doing, it makes it hard to believe that they're not capable of some really fucked up shit.
Yeah, which they tried to hide.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Same thing with, what's the NSA guy? Edward
Snowden?
Snowden.
Yeah.
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 Same thing.
Spygate.
That was a conspiracy. There's no way they're tapping your phones, looking at your emails, through your cameras, recording. No, and he's like, let me show you
they
this.
Are.
Yeah.
Yeah, 100%. They are tapping us. They're saving every text message, every email that gets sent. They have that shit.
Which, another thing, too, because after, 9/11, the Patriot Act came out.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what allowed them legally to do it.
Yep,
that got passed real fucking quick, too.
They're listening in for keywords, which we've said probably every keyword on this podcast. So,
besides, can't say that one on YouTube. The R word.
Oh, yeah.
That's a new one.
Yeah. But it is what it is. But I guess we can go back to the question of the hour. If you have me, you want to share me. If you share me, you haven't got me. What am I?
Love?
No.
It's going to be something so stupid, too, right?
So if you have me, what is it? If you share me, you haven't got me. So how could that be love?
If you share me, don't have me.
I'll let you guess until you don't feel like guessing no more. And remember, comment down below if you think you know the answer. Just put a spoiler alert on there so anybody else trying to answer doesn't read it.
Yep. Or we can just take out the comments that are right.
Yeah,
even if you put spoiler alert and you scroll down and see it.
Yeah, true. But hopefully moderators might fucking block it out. I know on like Reddit and stuff, if you do that, spoiler alert, they'll black it out. They'll redact it.
Oh, no
and
shit.
If you want to see the answer, you just click it.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, which it would be pretty cool if they did that.
Yeah.
But I'll read it to you one last time.
One last time.
If you have me, you want to share me. If you share me, you haven't got me. What am I?
I don't know. What is it?
A secret.
Oh, very nice. That's a good one.
Kind of went really well with the topic of today's
Real
podcast.
fucking smooth. That was pretty good.
Yep.
So I wonder if any of you got that.
Yeah. Like I said, comment down below. Try to comment before the end of the video.
Yeah.
That's awesome. If you guess it right, we'll give you a shout out on the next podcast.
Hell yeah.
Yep.
Send riddles of your own too.
Yeah, send us some riddles.
We might call them out instead of us making them.
We always love riddles.
Yes.
Anything.
Absolutely.
So,
well, my friends,
this
was an interesting one.
It was good. It was a lot of fun, I think.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Well, thank you all for tuning in.
Thank you, sirs and ma'ams.
And ma'ams. And anybody else out there. All 75,000 genders.
All the letters of the alphabet.
Yeah. But this is their month, by the way.
Oh, that's right. That's true. We'll salute.
Yep, salute.
Absolutely.
To equality.
Yes, sir.
Absolutely.
All right. Signing off. Thanks, guys.
Well, this has been an episode of PodGalaxy presents Riddles and Intrigue.
Da 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 da.
Recording this.